In this video, we will be talking about the settings in the iPad, settings about the Apple Intelligence and Siri, and we're using the iPad M4 and the iPadOS version is 18.1. Let's click on the Apple Intelligence and Siri and see which options do we have there. The first option is the language. If you click on the language, this is by default English UK selected. In my case, in many other cases, the language will be selected by default as per your regions. Anyhow, we can change any language later on if you are more comfortable with any other English, say for example Indian, Canadian, Australian, you can select it later. Go back. Let's click on the talk to Siri. This is off, but we can wake up Siri with the following commands: Siri or Hey Siri or simple Hey Siri. This is off. If I click on this, we can select this. Let's keep it off, and then we have the press stop button for Siri. This is by default active, which means if I long press this power button, this will engage or this will activate the Siri. Hey Siri, how are you?
Not too shabby. Thanks for asking.
See, Siri is now active. Let's go back and click on the allow Siri when locked. This is a interesting feature. This is by default enable, which means if the device is locked and I say Hey Siri, or let's long press the power button. Hey Siri, you there?
I'm here.
See, iPad is technically locked, but the Siri is active. But we can change the settings by simply disabling this button, and now when we lock the iPad and try to engage with Siri, nothing will happen. This is an option. If you want to select, you can select. Let's go back to settings once again and let's allow back Siri when the device is locked. It will ask you for your passcode. Once it's okay, you can configure it. Then we have the voice. If we click on the voice, we have multiple options to choose from. The British accent is selected.
The colors of the sky.
The colors of the sky. The colors of the sky.
The colors of the sky. The colors of the
Multiple
sky.
options are there in the British accent, so I have selected the voice too. Let's go back and see what other options do we have here. Siri responses. This one is interesting. If you look at this, prefer silent responses. By default, whenever you're using the Siri, this third option is selected, which says prefer spoken responses, which means whenever you engage with Siri, it will respond you verbally. Hey Siri, what time is it now?
It's 8:58 p.m.
See, I asked what time is it now. It communicated me or it set the time. If I simply change the setting to preferred silent responses, and now let's try it again. Hey Siri, what time is it now? It just gives me the time on the screen without saying it. Or we can also use the automatic mode, and in which the Siri will decide itself whether or not it should be speaking or just simply showing the message on the screen. Let's click on the preferred spoken responses. Always show Siri captions. Now see what happens there. Hey Siri, what time is it right now?
I found this on the web.
Whatever Siri is saying, we will see that narration on the screen. The captions are there. We can simply disable the captions, and now the option always show request, which means whatever I'm gonna say to Siri, it is gonna mention on the screen. Hey Siri, what time is it now?
It's 8:59 p.m.
Let's do it again. Hey Siri, what time is it now?
It's 8:59.
See, whatever the command I'm giving to Siri, it is being displayed here. We can enable or disable it. So let's disable this. Let's go back and see what other options we have here. Announce calls. We can select always, headphone and car, headphones only. We can select this for the Siri responses when we are getting the incoming calls. This is by default never selected. And then we have my information. By default, my phone has my contact number and my name is being displayed, but we can change it to any other name from the contact list. Siri and dictation history. We can simply delete Siri and dictation history if we would like to. By the way, it means it saves the commands which we give to Siri. Messaging with Siri. click on this, automatically send messages. When you enable this option and you are using this Siri and send a response, it won't ask you for the authentication or for the confirmation. It will simply send the response to the receiver. It will simply send the response to the receiver without any second authentication or confirmation from the owner. Keep it disabled. We have these suggestions. We can use the Siri in suggestions like suggest apps before searching, reset, hidden suggestions. We have hidden anything, and we can, if we reset this, all the hidden things will be shown in the suggestions once again. Allow notifications show in the app library and different other options. Siri app access. So we have the in-app clips, which is by default enabled. In this case, allows Siri to learn from how you use app clips to make suggestions across apps. On screen, show in search, suggest app clips. These are the very basic things, by the way. So these are all the settings we have on the iPad about the Apple Intelligence and Siri. Okay, now if you click on the Apple Pencil, the first thing you would notice, there is the option which says only draw with Apple Pencil, which is disabled. When it is disabled, which means I can select any pencil and start drawing through my fingers. And say for example, if we disable this, now we will only be able to draw through the Apple Pencil. Let's come back here, select any pencil. Now see, I won't be able to draw anything because I'm not using the Apple Pencil and I have disabled that option. Let's disable this. Now we have the option to draw with my fingers as well. Scribble option, in which whenever I write something with the Apple Pencil, it will convert into the text. Say for example, if we have the Apple Pencil and if we say hi, this will transform that my handwritten hi into a proper text. Then we have the try scribble. We don't have Apple Pencil, and these are the scribble options: handwriting, delete, select, insert, join. This will give you the insight how you can delete using the Apple Pencil, the way this is being shown here. Then we have the select. We can also select anything like simple circle on the word, it is selected. Insert, we can insert a new word into a sentence. The way how it is being done is being shown here. Also the join. Then we have the Apple Pencil gestures. Top left corner, screenshot. Bottom right corner, quick notes. We can change to anything. Quick notes or off. Now let's go to the camera. In camera, we have some decent settings. In iPad, we have a limited camera settings and we have very limited camera options in the iPad. Let's click what options we get in these settings of the camera. The first thing you would notice, the record video. If we click on this, we have these options: 720 HD at 30 FPS, 1080 at 60 fps, and we have the 4K 24 fps to all the way to 60 fps. Then we have also option to enable the PAL formats. If I click on this, we get the option of the PAL format. Now we can also select the auto fps off. Auto is 30 fps, auto 30 or 60. This will jump between 30 or 60. Lock widescreen balance. We can also lock the wide screen balance while recording the videos. Then we have the record slow-mo. If we click on this, we get only two options: 1080p HD at 120 fps or 1080p HD at 240 fps. Then we have the sound. We get two options: stereo and mono. By default, this is a stereo enabled and a lot of people use the stereo sounds. So click on the formats. What formats we have? We have two formats: high efficiency and most compatible. In most compatible, it will take less space. In high efficiency, it gives you the high definition video recordings, but it will take more space. You can't use the high efficiency modes at the 240 fps where you do the slow-mos, or 4K at 60 fps. These two modes are limited for the high efficiency only. Let's click on the preserve settings. If I click on the preserve, we have the camera mode, preserve the last camera mode. For whatever settings we have made on the camera mode, we can preserve it. This is by default disabled. No one used the camera on the iPad. Basically, not a lot of people use the camera on the iPad, but there are some people who do actually use the camera on the iPad as well. Same with the depth control. We can also preserve the depth settings if we need to, and we have the option to take a picture in the live photo. Let's go back. Then we have the option of the scan QR. If we're using the camera of the iPad, we can scan the QR codes. Similarly, we have the show detect text. We can also use that. This is a quite useful feature. Then we have the grid, how the grid is gonna work. Let me show you. If I go to the camera, the by default this is the camera is enabled and the lens is covered, that is why we're seeing it black. But if I click on the grid on, you will see the grid in the camera like these lines. And let's go back and disable it, and now you will see the grid lines are gone. Let's click on the levels, and when the levels are enabled, we see this. If you can see these plus, this is how you make sure you are rightly balanced. So this is the level mode on the iPad. It works very fine. See, we are now perfectly aligned, and which you can enable, disable. All the professional camera workers, they use the grids as well as the levels. Mirror front camera option is also there, but this is by default disabled. Let's keep it disabled. And lens correction mode. Now all the new cameras, they come with the lens correction, which is absolutely a great thing to have. Let's click on the control center. If I click on the control center, we have very limited options there. The first option is the guideline customize control center, the way how we can customize it, and then access within apps, which means we are in the settings app, and if I swipe it down, we have the option to access our control center. We can disable it. Say for example, if I click on this, and now if I swipe it down, it won't show me the control center within the apps, but it is accessible from the desktop. Let's go to the settings once again and enable this, and we get this back. Reset control center, which means if you delete anything or rearrange anything, you can simply reset this control center. These were some settings about the iPad. And please do let me know your thoughts about these settings. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe and share this video with anyone who owns the iPad. Thank you very much.